Good morning. It's a beautiful morning, rising sun here to remind you to wake up. Wake up to who you really are. You are powerful. You are beautiful. You are abundant. You are good. You are every good that the universe has to offer. We are all born that way, okay? So, I'm here to remind you about that. Take a deep breath with me now. How do you become a magnet for abundance? Well, the first step is to realize that you already are, and you always have been. But here's the problem. We get in our own ways. And what I mean by that is this physical vessel that we have, this body mind, we have a past, right? And this past can make it difficult for us to express the energy that we know we really are, to the point where we start to forget who it is that we really are, and we start identifying with things that happened to us in the past. That's not who you are. That's something that constructed the external identity that this body mind has in this physical reality. But that's not who you are. And you know that. That's why when we identify with those external things, it never gives us a true sense of wholeness, of integrity in ourselves and knowing who it is that we are. So we come from abundance. We rise from abundance. We ascend into this realm. We are abundant energy. We are love energy. We are all these good energies. And then life happens and we have a choice. Are we going to identify with the things that happen to us? Are we going to identify with our divinity, with our wholeness, with our oneness, with the us that we really are? And that's where things start to shift, okay? So here's an example for you. I go out into the world now, and people just come up to me, and they tell me, "Oh, you're so gorgeous. My son, he wants to look exactly like you. You're so gorgeous, keep it up, you're amazing." And I say, "Thank you so much." But I'll tell you what, that didn't happen to me before. And you might be asking, "Oh, how did that not happen?" It didn't. People wouldn't come up to me out of nowhere to tell me that I'm gorgeous or whatever, okay? It wasn't until I started accepting and acknowledging that I am beautiful. I started to tell myself, yes, I'm beautiful. Yes, I'm gorgeous. Yes, I am love and I am light. I am all these amazing things. And I acknowledge and I accept that about myself, not from an egoic standpoint, because I'm not talking about how I look. I'm not talking about my body. I'm not talking about my circumstances. I'm talking about I see myself for the beauty that I am in its wholeness and its entirety and its totality. And you are beautiful too. You are absolutely beautiful. And stop telling yourself that you're not, because it's what we tell ourselves, is what we see in the world. I used to go out, when I would go out, I had all these negative experiences going out. And so I started to tell myself these stories. The first time I ever went out to an event, it got shut down within 30 minutes. My beautiful new Jordans got all dirtied up. And then I had to wait outside of a club that I bought tickets for an event for, and they closed it right before I got to the door. And so I started to tell myself that I didn't like to go out. I started to tell people I didn't like to go out, that going out wasn't for me. Because it's really easy. It's really, really easy to blame it on the thing that happened when I went out. That makes it really easy for me to not have to then look at myself, okay? So those things happened, yes. But it was me telling the stories about myself over and over and over and over again that started to have me identify with the story that I was telling myself, because those things had already happened. Those things were in the past. They were no longer affecting me as a moment, as a circumstance that happened. But how they were affecting me was that I kept on telling myself the stories about them, the stories about how, going out's just not for me, or good things don't happen to me when I go out, or even I start to get into the stories about how because I'm a guy, because I'm not like over 6 feet, because I'm not wealthy, because I'm not all these things, that's the reason why this is happening to me. And I at some point started to push towards that because I didn't like how it felt. Every time I told myself that story, it would make me really sad. And I'd start to I would keep putting out this energy of lack. I'd keep putting out this energy of separation. I'd keep putting out this energy of distance between me and people and me and events, until I started to turn the mirror towards myself and realize, wait, there's nothing inherent about me that is like, I can't have this, I can't have fun when I go out, I can't have abundance, okay? And then when I realized that, I started to shift it and I started to have fun. And I started to pay more attention to the fun that I was having than to the other things that would happen. Now, this is not me telling you to go out so that you can have fun, okay? That's up to you whether or not you want to do that. But what I am telling you is that there are stories that we tell ourselves about things that happen, and they're very convincing because we have a lot of evidence. And what are we taught in school? We're taught, when we want to prove a point, when we want to show that something's real, we have to give evidence, we have to give supporting examples, and then those things mean that it's real. Those things mean that it's true. Not when it comes to you. You are infinite. You are beautiful. You are whole. And you've been telling yourself stories about how you're not. So the first thing you need to do to become a magnet for abundance is realize that you already are and you always have been. The second thing you need to do is stop telling yourself stories about how you're not. Even if it's really tempting, even if it's really convincing, every time you want to say the words, I am, and then whatever follows after that, if you add the word broke or poor or I need something or I am in lack, when you tell those words to yourself, you're creating a reality in which that will come back to you because you're the creator, you're powerful, you are powerful beyond measure. And so when you speak those words into existence, you're misaligning yourself from your own power. You're using it for your own, your intellect is going against you, so stop using your intellect to go against you, start using it for you. Start using it so that you can be the fullest expression of yourself. Why do you want to have abundance in the first place? Is it so that you can impress other people with fancy cars and fancy clothes? Is it so that you can make yourself look like you're cool? Or is it because you want to support your family and because your family needs you? Is it because you want to support your travels and you want to support your own personal growth? Okay? Why do you want to have the abundance? And when you come from this heart-centered, real flow of, I want abundance so that I can show that my life is an extension of the universal principles of attraction, that we are source, that we are the creators. I want my life to be an example that that is what it is. So that's why I do it. Why do you do it? And that's a good question to ask yourself. You get related to why it is that you want abundance in the first place. There's no good or bad reasons. There's just reasons that inspire us and there's reasons that don't. And there's reasons that inspire a certain part of us that's more egoic. And the more egoic part of us is more material. And so then when we want to achieve those goals, it becomes material impacting material. And that can happen, it just takes a while, okay? But when you want to manifest, when you want to become a magnet, that is more of a higher self. That is more an awareness. That is more a consciousness. So when you vibrate at a conscious level of abundance, you start to attract things, like me attracting people telling me that I'm gorgeous because I'm putting that energy out there and I'm telling everybody else how beautiful they are and I'm telling myself how beautiful I am. And so the world is showing me the beauty of it. Are you paying attention? Where in the world are you paying attention to? Where in the world are you paying attention to things that don't serve you, even if they're showing up all around you? That's the hard part. When things show up all around you, when your circumstances are showing up, what are you paying attention to? Because some people will tell you that you have to pay attention to the bad things. You have to pay attention to the negative energies. You have to pay attention to the distractions. No, that's not true. Just because you're there doesn't mean you have to pay attention to those things, and it doesn't mean you have to keep telling yourself the stories of how those things are more real than the good. All you need is one good thing. All you need is one thing to be grateful for. And you just keep holding that space and you keep holding that energy. And what will eventually happen is you will just start to flow into the flow of life, into what life has to offer to you. The good is trying to come to you. It's been trying to come to you this whole time because you are abundance. because you are powerful, because you are light. But we block ourselves. We block ourselves. Imagine you're playing a video game, and your character is trying to send your character into this room where you know there's hidden treasure, where you know there's the love of your life, where you know there's this amazing thing that's going to happen. But your character keeps turning itself around. Every time you go into the room, it's walking up to the door and it's turning around. And then it has a little text box that says, "Oh, I can't go in there. Bad things happen when I go in rooms. That's what mom always said." "Oh, I can't go in there. Last time I went into a room like this, I got my hand chopped off." Okay? Now that last one's pretty bad. If your hand got chopped off going into the room, I wouldn't blame you for not going into the room. Okay? But the point still stands. We're getting in our own way. When the controller of us, which is also us, is trying to send us in a direction that we know is the best for all dimensions of ourselves, we send ourselves away because we have a past. And this reminds us of our past. Our work here, our job here, is to stop telling ourselves the stories that no longer serve us, okay? We learn from the past, but only in ourselves. If you're learning about the world from your past and your experiences with yourself, you're paying attention to things that don't serve you. Start paying attention to yourself. Start paying attention to how you respond to energies, okay? Because when you start paying attention to yourself in that way, and you start growing, you start expanding, you're leveling up your character. And the higher your level gets, the stronger you become. You can become a wizard in this world. You can become a magician in this world. You can become somebody who actually manifests things like this in the world. But you have to start paying attention to yourself, to your own energy. All the video games and all the ancients, right, where they talk about energy and mana, we've come to believe that those things aren't real because we can't see them and we can't interact with them. I mean, many of us have come to believe that. I think many of us are waking up to the fact that, no, actually, energy is all there is and all there ever has been. And we are the same thing. We are energy. So when we become responsible for our own energy, that's how we attract abundance. That's how we magnetize the life that we want. That's how we start to make a real difference for the people around us, because they can see it in us, that we're doing the work to keep ourselves high, and that inspires people to do it for themselves, because inspiration is simply just the light, the higher vibration being passed on from one person who has it to another person who's trying to find it. Okay? So thank you for listening. May you have an amazing rest of your day, and do not forget how powerful you are. Remember, the words that you speak contain power, so do not take them lightly. Do not take them lightly, no matter what. Speak your intentions. Speak your truth. Speak your purpose. So it shall be. Have an amazing rest of your days. See you guys in the next video.